Balancing marriage and kids can be tricky business, but it's essential to keeping family balance. Here to talk to our couples that are married but are having a hard time maintaining that relationship along with the relationship with their kids is licensed professional counselor Marcy Payne. Marcy, thanks for spending part of your weekend with us. Tell us about your personal and your professional experience with this topic.
Well, I've been a licensed professional counselor for about a decade, and I've been consulting with couples and individuals for a variety of reasons. They come in because they're frustrated with their kids, or their marriage is in a rut, or they're just not enjoying everyday life. And usually they come in wanting to change somebody, but I coach them to help them discover they have a choice and that they can change how they react. And the reason I wanted to talk about this topic was because it's my life too. This month I'll be married for 13 years and have two young kids. We have a preschooler and a toddler.
Well, congratulations on the anniversary.
Thank you. Awesome. And also self-employed, so I know what it's like to juggle many different things and to try to manage all the things that are important to me each day. I could easily spend my time at home teaching the kids things or having fun with them or developing my business. And instead I have to keep in mind that I have a marriage too, and so I very much relate to this topic about keeping, each thing that's important to me in focus every day.
Well, our viewers are probably wondering if I have kids. I don't. I'm doing this totally for you guys. Stopped many times while out shopping and out at various places in the community by couples that were having a hard time balancing marriage and kids. Now, for our childless couples that are out there, what changes can they expect, Marcy, in their relationship after they have children?
I think having less time together, less time alone, and fatigue is a given. I think most people expect that, maybe not to the degree until you get there and then you realize it. I don't think you can be prepared for all of this, but I do think one thing that's important to realize is that you might have some anxiety. That's one thing I think people don't expect. They might be worried about being a good parent, or worried that something's going to happen to them, or the child might even die, and sometimes, even worried about being intimate again after they deliver a baby. All those things might be anxiety. But the good news is that you don't have to just live with that anxiety, but you recognize it. You can figure out a way to manage it better so that you can enjoy your time with your spouse. If they're both important, you can make it both work.
For our childless couples that are out there that are kind of on the fence as to whether or not to, pull the trigger, excuse my language, so to speak, to have children, what would you say they can do to prepare themselves or maybe alleviate some of the anxiety about, having children?
Again, I think if both those things are important to them, then they can make it work. And knowing that no matter what stage you're at, it is work. I mean, it is work. The relationship is work, but all the changes aren't bad. Some of them are positive and some of them are negative. And I think you just work at making them both a priority.
Is there a right time to have children?
I think that's a personal decision. I don't think everybody plans for it. I know that couples sometimes get married because they got pregnant and wasn't necessarily the order they wanted to go. Maybe they wanted to do job, then marriage, then kids. And those couples, at least in my office, don't seem to do as well. So I would say going in a more orderly fashion is better, but people adapt to what is presented in front of them too. So
okay. Other than increase in workload, Marcy, what other things can happen in a relationship that can make it hard for a couple to balance their own personal relationship as well as the relationship that they have with their children?
Again, I think that anxiety can play an important role, whether people are aware of it or not. Let me give you an example to illustrate it a little bit.
Okay.
Imagine a triangle made up of a mother, father, and a child. For the purpose of the example, I'll just call the father Joe and the wife Anne. The couple goes from being a cozy couple to having a new baby, and soon they find themselves maybe growing apart. And Joe might start to take the time that Anne spends with the baby personally, and he might, to cope with that, go to work more. And when he's at home, complain. So instead of saying, I miss you, or I want to spend some time with you, or instead of just doing that and going and time doesn't realize that Anne is really terrified that something's going to happen to the baby and is afraid she's going to lose the baby. So, and in face of the complaining and the criticism, then turns the baby even more, so it even creates more avoidance between the couple, and instead of just trying to avoid conflict, they end up avoiding each other. Okay. I think, again, the good news is they don't have to stay here, and if each of them can realize their part in the problem, then they have a choice. Anne could figure out a way to manage that anxiety and just focus on the baby's health, and when the baby's okay, and not put as much energy into what could happen, but put in, energy into what is right here, and the baby's okay. And at the same time, Joe could figure out, how else can I think about this besides it's me, or she doesn't love me, or she doesn't want to be with me. And I think that can help couples see that they're both in this together, and it's not, him or you, and it's not a competition. So they can realize they're both trying to adapt at the same time.
So you're saying that having a heavy workload can actually be something that couples do, staying very, very busy to cover up other issues in the relationship. Is that what you see in your practice?
I think that happens with anybody, whether they're married or not married. So I think that's one of the most common things that people tell me they do, is just stay busy so I don't have to feel these feelings, or I don't have to think about the problem. So yes, I think that's one thing that people do to cope.
What advice can you give to couples to help them to prioritize their family activities? I know more so than any other time, just families are very, very busy. They have lots of activities on their plate. You have one kid that's at soccer, you have another that's in dance, just have a lot of things going on. Then you have television, computers, that create even more work for families. So what tips can you give to married couples to prioritize, or better prioritize, their family activities, so that there's more balance in the relationship?
One thing that we do is to have at least one night where we don't go anywhere, that we can always count on, that nothing's going to come up, that we'll always be home. For us, it's Monday. I don't know, it's just a slow night. So what we've done is we have a family fun box. I got this idea from Once Upon a Family. And
now, is that an actual box, or?
Yeah, it's an actual box, but you could put it in a Ziploc bag, and you could do this with anything. And we just I asked everybody, what do they want to do for fun, and I asked them to pick things that didn't cost any money. Maybe once in a while might be go get ice cream, but usually things that we could do from home: play games, play cards, go for a walk. And each Monday night we just get the box out, and usually my daughter's like, "Is it family fun night?" Every night. So get the box out, and each person gets a turn, at least once a month, to pick something out of the box, and then we do that for that night. So I think that's a way to solve some downtime. The activities are fun and they're enriching, but I think a lot of people are missing just some downtime. So.
Now, what about, what about parents in the audience that are saying to themselves, my kids, they need me so much, especially when they're small. How can they move from, giving so much time to their kids and actually focusing more on the needs of their spouse?
I definitely get that kids could request your attention all the time, but I do think it's good for them for you to say no to them every once in a while. I get a request for my time, whether it's my voicemail or for my kids, or it could come from all directions. So I think anytime you have requests for your time, it's okay to go, is this a good time for me? And then I've found with them, my kids, they entertain themselves on their own, and that's okay. For them to learn how to entertain themselves.
And how old are your kids again?
5 and 2.
Okay.
Almost 3 and 2.
They're entertaining themselves.
Okay. They can go entertain themselves. Not all the time, but that's okay. So I think setting some boundaries and telling them, not right now or later, or they might tell you they're busy when you ask them to do something, you do it too fast.